It was awesome. They said,
It's kind of hard to do that yourself when you're my age, but I was at the peak of my garage.
You're on air.
Yes, Brett, I'll do it.
I forgot, I didn't even think about it.
I know, I was gonna ask somebody for you, and I'm like, no, I'll just do it. We're on.
So I'm up there trying to push it in. My left foot water went to the left. I just face planted.
And today is the 19th.
Every bone in my face has 63 stitches. These are all implants. Nine broken ribs, 2 knee
Gary told me
gaps.
don't worry, you cover it.
Yeah.
You know,
Got-
I
got
had
some spot.
surgery that had on my
And donate.
face. I had to learn how to walk again.
All set?
What do you got now?
Just what you do
Yeah.
at this stage here.
Go back.
Yeah, I mean,
Our
I was
phone.
actually for about 4 months
Or
glad
15.
that we were all wearing masks. 'Cause I was
You're
covering
live.
stuff up.
It's a fair jam pack today.
So since that day, I've been pretty good. That was a.
No.
that was
You
done.
dropped Tennessee, you and all the kids spent about $500.
Once you get it, let's go.
That was-
Jason, go ahead and get this meeting in order.
Wasn't too smart, Bill.
I
Yeah.
did. They're, I don't know what he was
You
thinking.
guys are out of control over there.
He must not be on his medication. He's not thinking clearly. He gave me a gavel. All right, welcome to the August 19th, 2021 Stellen's Board meeting. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Karen?
Handy,
Here.
Crab,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Nave,
Here.
Slings,
Here,
Crowell,
Here.
Powell,
Here.
All right, looks like we have a quorum, so we are official. 1B, agenda adoption. Dr. Lubnick, are there any changes?
Yeah, there are. We need to omit items 2E and 2F. We did not get the information provided from the Toad Valley Owners Legal Counsel is suggesting that they'll be ready for the September 16th. So it'll come next month.
Awesome.
motion to approve the agenda as changed.
Second.
Thank you. Karen?
Crab,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Nave,
Yes.
Slings,
Yes,
Crowell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes. All right, 1C, district vision and mission. Mrs. Slings, are you up for that?
Southeast Polk will learn, lead, live, success for college, career, and civic life. Engage all students in learning a challenging curriculum delivered through quality instruction.
Very good, thank you. All right, 1D, this is time for public comments. If there's anybody wanting to address the board for anything on the agenda or not on the agenda, you will have 3 minutes to do so. If you have a group, so if the two of you really want to come up, you can have 5 minutes. So- No. And it sounds like we have not had any written comments online or anything this time.
We've had no comments come through email as well.
Thank you. All right, seeing nobody wants to rush the podium tonight, we'll move forward. 1E, consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for administration? Hearing none. Karen?
Fisher,
Yes.
Nave,
Yes.
Slings,
Yes,
Crowell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes.
Crab,
Yes.
Moving on to old new business, 2A, confirmation of next meetings, which are September 2nd and September 16th.
motion to approve confirmation of next meetings.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any concerns, questions? All right. No conflicts of black and gold or anything like that?
Well, we have a building visit on the 31st, correct?
And homecoming is the 25th, 24th, and 23rd is the parade, so. it
All
doesn't
right, so
conflict.
it sounds good. All right, so we got a first and a second, so Karen?
Nave,
Yes.
Slings,
Yes,
Crowell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes.
Crab,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
All right, very good. 2B, second read of various policies. We
Motion.
approved the last ones last times.
motion to approve. Board policy, second reading.
Second.
Somebody
I
else?
was gonna say,
What?
come on, Adam, you gotta.
I'm
get
just
your-
trying to share the
You gotta get
wealth,
your
let
seconds
somebody
in as
else
long
get
as
their
you
voice
can.
heard, but you know.
Questions on these policies? I think everybody was here last meeting. All right, hearing none. Karen?
Slings,
Yes,
Crowell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes.
Crab,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Nave,
Yes.
2C photography agreement for 2021-22 school year.
So moved.
second,
Any questions on this one?
I'm assuming they got it worked out between the two photographers, and
Yes, we did.
thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
All right, Karen?
Crowell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes.
Crab,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Nave,
Yes.
Slings,
Yes,
Very good. 2D, Mr. Horton is going to give us the district safety plan update.
motion to approve.
Second.
You got anything you want to say? Okay. Nothing's changed, right?
Nothing
At
else?
this point,
No
anybody wants to
additional-
read it, it's in your office on the shelf.
Yes, it
Okay.
Is it online anyway?
It can't be, I don't think.
I didn't know if the public part was.
All right, since there's no questions for Mr. Horton. Nothing to add. We'll get a second.
Second.
All right, thanks. Karen?
Powell,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes.
Crab,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Nave,
Yes.
Slings,
Yes,
Crowell,
Yes.
All right, 2E and F were omitted, so we'll move on to 2G, employee assistance program contract.
motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions?
Are there any changes to the plan or is it just that extension?
Just, yeah, it looked like it was the contract.
Okay.
The additional.
And this is the one that was adding 2 more visits, right?
Yep.
For students, okay. All right.
You've got a motion and a
Already
second.
Yeah,
a
we
second.
have
Okay.
one.
I do need a second.
No,
You have one.
Yeah, okay, Karen?
Handy,
Yes.
Crab,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Nave,
Yes.
Slings,
yes,
Crowell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
All right. 2H student assistant program contract.
Move
Motion
to
to-
approve.
second,
Thank you very much. Any questions on this one? I would think this is the extension as well. Which one, how many was for the students? 2, okay. Okay.
So there's potentially grant funding to cover that.
We have not heard back from the grant yet. So we're looking for other at-risk and have covered temporary and get a grant. We will transfer that over.
Is that something like the ESSER 3 could cover or
Potentially, yes.
I guess we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Later.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They told us last Friday that they would announce within 7 days. So
Coming up.
that means you should hear soon.
All right, Karen?
Crab,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Nave,
Yes.
Slings,
Yes.
Crowell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes. 2I, return to learn update FY
Motion.
22.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Update.
Second,
Gary seconded.
awesome. Any questions on what in the packets in front of you and what's been posted online?
I just appreciate the transparency we're giving our staff and our community. This addition that I think came from our nursing staff was great to spell things out for parents. And I'm glad that we're doing this.
Any other comments or questions?
So the term homebound instruction, what does that refer to?
Homebound instruction means that the student would have a medical condition that would prevent them from receiving education in school. So the students who are medically fragile or have medical diagnosis, then you're providing the Southeast Polk curriculum and at the elementary level. And the parents will provide the instruction and the instructional coach will check them through that. So at the secondary level, that works like Edgenuity. Until homebound is always intended to be short-term. So the students will return to school when the conditions improve, either with the Delta variant and/or vaccines are more than.
So that is that in place of Edgenuity for elementary, or is that another option?
They've had the option of either the, with the Southeast Polk curriculum and a check-in, or Edgenuity, and all of them have chosen the Southeast Polk curriculum so far.
Okay.
I think we're at 12 or 13 students total, so it's not a huge number, but I just wanted the option of all with the.
Anything else? Aaron?
are you ready for me? I couldn't hear.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Karen.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
Fisher,
Yes.
Nave,
Yes.
Slings,
Yes.
Crowell,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes.
Crab,
Yes.
All right. Topics for discussion. We start with 3A superintendent's report.
All right, good evening. As usual, we'll start with some good news, and really all of this is kind of wrapped up into all of the traditions and signs of a new school year, because that's kind of right where we are here. It's been a very positive and fun last week and a half or so. We've had new teachers meetings, we've had open houses, orientations, the all-staff kickoff tonight. Black and Gold Night's happening as we speak, as we've kind of recognized, all leading up to the first day of school on Monday, the 23rd. So ready or not, here they come, and I feel like we're ready, but we'll use that one more day on the weekend to be absolutely positive. So I did get some really good news from Gary Haynes. Right before I came in here, they did finish the roof project at the junior high, so they were true to their word, came in under the wire. So
That's the last one.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's done, and that was one of our worries. So just kind of a monthly review, some things out of the ordinary. Obviously, state fair parking meetings are not a normal thing, but during this time of year, that always happens. And again, knock on wood, that's been going very well. And then all of the really meetings have been dominated by the start of the year meetings, along with our ongoing projects. And we'll get to hear a little bit from Mr. Good tonight on the multipurpose stadium project update. So with that, I'll take any questions anybody has.
I thought it was very well done on Tuesday and lots of energy throughout the morning and lunch and some added excitement this year. It was very
It
nice.
was a fun morning. Yeah,
Yes.
lots of people worked hard.
Agreed.
Anything else for Dr. Lubnick?
That sidewalk or entryway into the high school, is that
Finished.
finished?
Yep.
Okay, that's all they were working on it.
Now, did they match the colors or did they put it all as
Not
gray?
at first, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wondered.
It all
when I-
starts as gray. first.
Okay, okay.
Are they gonna do the east side too,
They did
There was
pieces
some
of
of
that
that done.
last year. I can't tell you. I'll ask Gary.
Okay.
I'll let you know tomorrow.
or, yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure if that's in the queue.
it's probably too late now because,
They did the
Time.
major.
School's on
things.
Monday.
yeah. We got a few days. If we get that done.
A year ago, we had a contractor damage a bunch of that front,
Right, I
Yeah.
remember that.
but then some of the others has also cracked too. So I'm not positive where that's at.
Yeah, I guess the only reason I asked is because when we were going through the football stadium, they were talking about how it was thinner and I didn't know if we were gonna try to.
Not do that again. Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, yeah, I hope we're not gonna do that, but at least fix what we didn't do, I guess, the first time.
Sure.
All right, if nothing else for Dr. Lupnick, we'll move on to the stadium project update. Yeah, if you want, well, wherever you're comfortable, as long if we can hear it. They want
Oh,
it?
you gotta go
Okay.
to the podium then.
Well, good evening, Superintendent and Board. I'm Bill Good. I'm the owner's rep on the stadium project, and I'm here to give you a brief update. Brief is about, there's just a lot of dirt work going on right now. But it's all good. It has been, the dirt work has been slowed to a certain extent because we've run across some poor soils, some wet soils that we weren't anticipating, which required some movement and drying and aerating that soil to dry it out so it will compact in a way that it needs to for the stadium facility. Most recently, we're talked a lot about the cross-country course and reestablishing that. In the next month, our window of seating opportunity is upon us. So we've got some topsoil to spread and some seeding to be done to get that turned around. Just comment on a few other observations. Every meeting, we monitor supply chain issues with the last year or so. Delivery, manufacturing has been an issue. And so, as of yesterday, we have no supply chain issues.
Wow.
The contractor is looking ahead to make sure that things can be ordered in a timely fashion. The architect has been very helpful in reviewing shop drawings and answering questions to make sure that keeps moving. But that's a discussion item every meeting to make sure that we stay on track. Again, it's kind of a wild card. Something could happen later, but we're good right now. North Concourse, the pad should start going in the next week or so. I'm sure everybody can't wait for things to get vertical. So to get beyond the dirt and start on getting to the vertical aspect of this. So that'll be starting soon. The sidewalk prep along Martha Miller Drive is underway. You may have noticed. Also next week, site utilities, very specifically storm sewer and electrical, will be underway. We've seen 2 change orders so far, very minimal.
How much are those?
Pardon me?
How much are those change orders?
I don't have that dollar amount, but I think both of them are less than $4,000. The one was a soils modification, which was unexpected. There's nothing, those things fly up during a project like this. And the other one was not avoidable either because the city changed the traffic signal requirements after the bid. So there's 2, those are the 2 so far. We have a long way to go on this project, but still on track for completion in September of 2022. That still holds. That's the expectation. Again, something that we talk about every meeting. There's been good collaboration, as I think I implied earlier, between the architect, the general contractor, subcontractors, and consultants to date. So people are communicating, it's moving along well. And at the end of August, I am estimating that of the actual contract, about 8% is accomplished. So with that, unless you've got any other questions?
What's the delay so far that we're talking on the soil difference? So are we set back a week? Are we set back 2 weeks, letting it move and dry? Where are we at with that delay?
We have differing opinions about that.
What's the
We-
dirt guys say?
Pardon me?
What does the dirt guys say?
He believes that they're about 2 weeks behind.
Can we make that up somewhere?
That's our plan.
Okay.
There's a domino effect to everything. You finish this, then you start this. So we have nobody panicking in that particular regard yet.
Okay.
But yes, and again, it was mainly because of some of the unexpected soil.
Right. Right. Dirk, where are they running for their home meet this year, cross country?
That's a great question. That was still to be determined.
Because I hear rumblings on social media, and I mean, I know they know, but could you let me know where
Yeah.
they're having their home meet and then where they, practicing? I know it's just one season, but still.
So can you explain the signaling issue? What, that was a change order you said on that piece, and why,
Yeah.
I guess, is it, why did they change late into the game after we already bid?
We,
The city did it.
No, I know, that's why I'm,
well, they reviewed and they determined that there was something that needed to be added. I can't tell you what that something was specifically, but it was stuff that probably should have been caught before.
so we have to pay the price for that. That's just. I'll bite my tongue, but I think you guys know. where
I
I'm
think
going
that's a
with it.
good choice, Brett. Bite your tongue.
You know, if we've got, did we work with Coach Owens and Mr. Pettit as far as like getting the areas on the cross-country course fixed that they were like not associated with the stadium? Do you know?
Yes, Mr. Pettit has been involved. There has been some meetings with the cross-country folks also, coaches, and some discussions about the course and status and some issues that were in place prior to the stadium. So yes, those discussions have been had and they're working through them.
So that is a concern.
Well, and it occurred in the whole planning phase.
Oh,
too.
did it?
Yeah,
Good.
they were involved in all the planning, so.
Oh, yeah, this was more just like touching up areas that were already bad, since we're already out there doing all the
Yeah.
dirt work,
Right.
and getting it done before we seed. so that
Is
way
there
it's-
some
it's
low
ready.
spots or something out
Yeah.
there? And some-
Yep. So yeah, that's why I was hoping they would take care of the dirt and everything while we're,
Twisted ankles.
while we're doing it now.
Yeah, there was some disruption, just the project.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
you know, And so,
Yeah.
those things should be taken care of, but as I remember, there's about 3 other areas that they were concerned about. And we're working through, what may be done now and what could be done later.
I appreciate you staying on top of the supply chain. I'm seeing all kinds of stuff. I'm a lawyer and I'm seeing all kinds of that hitting the fan in disputes between contractors, and business, or owners reps and architects. And so thank you for staying on that. I'm glad to hear we don't have any issues, at least at this point. That's huge. Hopefully most of those we would know about by now, but yeah, it's a new world for sure. We're all working through.
Yeah, again, that's a wild card. Today is good.
Yeah,
Tomorrow's
well, that's
another day.
good.
Any other questions from Mr. Good?
I just want to say, I worked with Bill Good for well over 20 years when I was at East as the AD, and our partnership with Grandview University. And he being the CEO of our buildings and grounds for the Des Moines schools we're just so fortunate to have him overseeing this. And I feel tremendous that he'll let Dirk or Brett or whoever else, or Lori, who all needs to know things as they happen, and we're in good hands. So, thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
They've got a course maps where they ran it before the current cross-country, which is before my time, so I can't
What
answer. but I
they're
think it's the
using?
junior high, right?
Well,
They're-
they're either the,
Might be,
Where they ran directly before.
that was out at the
Waste
Yeah,
Waste
the-
Management
right,
Yeah,
Learning Center.
yes.
Mhm.
Right.
I just texted Jason.
Or
last
Sam
week.
White's. They used to run at St. White's.
Yeah, they did that too.
I know they're doing time trials this weekend around the junior high and sixth grade center, but I don't know if that's.
I'll get more details.
let me know.
All right. Stadium project update, kind of a success,
So we have one thing.
Kind of.
kind of. Anyway, let's move on to summer learning programs.
Good
Thank
evening,
you.
board. As we close out the summer officially and move into the exciting start of the school year, I wanted to provide a little bit of an update on summer learning that occurred here at Southeast Polk. So I met with the teachers today for a curriculum overview, and we have prioritized 6 actions for learning recovery. The first one being collaborative teams, the use of data, instructional coaching and teacher leadership, focus on core instruction, maybe 5, and extended learning opportunities. And so tonight I'm here to talk to you about the extended learning opportunities that have already begun, particularly the summer learning opportunities that we had.
Oh, there was a
No,
red one
no.
there.
Yeah, no, you can keep going, sorry. And I'm not going to go through this whole slide, but just to point out, when we think about extended learning, not just with the summer, but with the upcoming year, we know that the pandemic and the closure impacted some of our learning groups more disproportionately than others. So students who had IEPs and might not have had access to their typical instruction, students who are learning English, students who might have poverty challenges or were homeless or doubled up, they might not have had some of the same learning opportunities. So those students need everything that is in our learning recovery plan and more. And there really aren't any more hours in the day. So we are going to have to look at some extended learning opportunities for learning recovery and to close those skills gaps that may have occurred as a result of the pandemic. So we will be looking at a plan that includes extended learning, not only summer, Saturdays, after school, before school, any opportunities that we can carve out for those learning groups that are going to need additional instruction. So this year we kicked it off in a pilot sort of way. Typically at the elementary level, our Title I schools, 4 of our 8 schools were able to hold summer school. Usually we had around 30 to 40 students participating for 2 to 3 weeks for a half a day. And that was Monday through Thursday. So we usually ended up with about 10 to 12 days. This year we had 120 students from all 8 elementaries who were represented. They all attended at Centennial, and it was a face-to-face in-person summer school. At the secondary level, looks a little bit different. It usually is recovering standards that they did not meet during the school year in order to be promoted to the next grade level or to earn credit for a particular class. So we had 337 students participate at the secondary level, which is more than normal. It was some face-to-face. At the Spring Creek, it was all face-to-face. At the junior high, it was a hybrid model of some face-to-face and some online. And at the high school level, it was all online. So when we planned the elementary summer school, the district-wide one, we really wanted to pay attention to what the research says about effective summer schools. So the things that we learned is it needed to be a full day. So it was. Transportation needed to be provided so we could remove that barrier for families. And so we had transportation. The focus was on academics and hands-on learning. So the morning focused on academics and ELA and math, and the afternoon was hands-on learning with STEM and other activities. And it needs to be at least 4 weeks in duration. Excuse me. We served students who were going into grades 1 through 6. So they were in K through 5 last year. And you can see the numbers of students who participated at each grade level. All students in grade 2 had an early STEM experience where the Science Center came to Centennial and provided some hands-on activities. And then they all had a trip to the Science Center sponsored by the Science Center and Facebook. When each child went, they were given 4 passes for their family to return at another time and experience the STEM Innovation Room. So that was a great opportunity. All students in grade 6, we worked with Spring Creek to put mission transition in the afternoon rather than in the morning. So they did their academics in the morning and then they went to mission transition as a part of RAM camp. Prior to summer school, 2 of the 14 were planning to go to mission transition and we were able to have all 14 attend. So that was a good experience for them as well. And then pictures worth 1,000 words. So again, we really did a mixture of fun and of learning, and the students had a chance to collaborate with each other and work with each other. And it was a really great experience. On the next slide, you can see that we also had an opportunity to field test some of the new technology equipment. And the teachers used those in a variety of ways. Felt it was really, they picked up on them very quickly. And I will say personally, those kids got me right here. So I really enjoyed, I wanted to have a hands-on experience to know what we would need to have in summer school if we decided to pursue this in the future. And made a few friends along the way. I can't wait to see them on Monday when they come back. So it was a great experience. When we look at the students attended, 57 well, let me start out by saying we really prioritized full attendance. What we know from the research is that they need to attend that many days to see an impact in their learning. And so when we met with families, we wanted a commitment of full attendance, and they did commit to that. Having said that, we had a little stomach bug that ran through camp. We had some illnesses that ran through camp. So one time where we're wanting to commit to attendance, we're also saying, if you're sick, stay home. So, you know, we were compromising those two balancing those two situations. So we didn't want anyone to come who was sick. But 57 students had attendance rates of 95 to 100%. And another 30 students had attendance rates of 80 to 90%. So what we will be doing is we administer A reading and A math to all K-8 students 3 times a year. We do that in the fall and the winter and the spring. And we've got a cohort of students who attended summer school, those who attended full-time, part-time, half-time, and then compared to their peers who did not attend. And we'll be running a statistical analysis to determine the impact of summer school, not only in the fall, but did they sustain that from the winter to the spring? Because our hope is to see some really positive results for kids and continue to provide these opportunities in the future. So it was a first stab. We learned a lot. I learned a lot, but saw a lot of the benefits that could happen for kids to continue this in the future. So we are looking forward to offering extended learning opportunities throughout this school year and continuing with this model for years to come.
So so you're talking about doing the comparison between those that did attend summer school versus not. What was the total number of days added with the full-time summer school?
20.
20. So we're looking at 200 days versus 180 for the
Yes.
normal students. Okay. And are we going to do a compare and contrast to similar achievement level students from previous years to see? Okay.
Yeah, we'll do all students, and then we'll do students who fell into the same categories of needs assistance, et cetera. So we'll take a look at it through 2 lenses.
It's a lot of data to crunch. I like it.
There's some good software for that. Push a button.
Yeah, I think this is a great start for learning recovery. The fact that we provided transportation, I'm guessing, probably had a big impact on the number of kids that signed up and the attendance. Yeah. And I appreciate that we're doing the statistical analysis too. That was actually, before we got to that slide, that was going to be my question, is how do we know it worked?
Right. Exactly.
Have we received any like early feedback or feedback through the program from parents and students?
I got some feedback from parents, and again, that feedback was very positive. They really appreciated the transportation. we had about 70% of our students who did ride the bus each day. So they're just, they had a few frustrations with knowing if they weren't going to ride the bus and the communication. So those are things that we'll need to work on in the future. And some of them felt a little conflicted in terms of, well, there's a camp over here and there's a camp over here. And our goal is to start a little sooner. We weren't sure if those funds were coming through. We thought they were, but we started later than maybe we were comfortable with. But if we can anticipate those things in the future and get that on the calendar, I think families will be able to plan around that. I do plan on meeting with the teachers from the camp too, to get some of their feedback in regards to what worked, what might they change for the future, and how we can best support that. I think when you mentioned the transportation, students also got breakfast when they came in the morning and lunch in the afternoon. And on Fridays, they were able to take home bag meals for Saturday and Sunday. And the families were very appreciative of that.
Remind me where the funds came from for this.
It's the,
From the CARES Fund.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Yes.
And do we expect that possibly next summer as well?
Yeah, it's actually
really?
two things ahead here. We'll talk
Okay.
about.
Okay, that's good.
Thanks.
So when we were studying this, they said to keep things like this going, to look for community benefactors. So I know Dr. Halupnik will talk about, the future of the CARES funds, but in the meantime, also looking for some benefactors. So beyond the CARES funds, looking at what opportunities we might have to help provide this for kids.
And would you like to see it larger or the same size?
I would like to see it a little larger, but obviously we're gonna have to be able to staff with teachers,
Right.
staff with some summer school coordinators, and, so staffing, being able to supply enough staff to get the job done will be the kicker, so.
Did everybody that wanted to attend or needed to attend, get to attend, or did we only take what we could take?
Yeah, there were a few grade levels that closed because we were capping sections at a certain number. So I think I had 2 grade levels that closed. I maybe turned away 4 to 5 families, but it was a last minute call. So we tried to get them in, but some of them were like a day or 2 before and we weren't able to manage that.
Okay.
But for the most part, they did.
Everybody that wanted to attend got to attend. Okay.
Were we able to determine like any trends of like what skills maybe were hit the hardest last year?
Yeah, the teachers could tell right away that automaticity with math facts was not there for kids like they were used to seeing it in past. So we actually had teachers teaching it who were familiar with what kids should have at those grade levels. And so they really hit the math facts hard. And they also hit the reading aloud and that fluency piece hard, because again, partner reading, things like that didn't occur with our quarantine and our isolation type things last year. So they were able to pick out some of those automaticity issues, weren't like they used to be, and they spent a lot of time really focusing in those areas. So even though it was short 4 weeks, we were able to see that grow pretty quickly. So that was exciting.
That's good. So that's gonna help us like with the planning, like for this year even, kind of like rolling that stuff in early and trying to.
Exactly. So it gave us some big ideas on what we might need to support.
Awesome.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 3D enrollment update.
This is kind of an extension of what we talked about in the last Board of Education meeting regarding enrollment. Some really positive, optimistic news. We continue to grow. Overall, we're now up to plus 86. And if you remember a year ago at this time, we were talking about negative numbers, not positive ones. So that's great all the way around. I would say, I'm pretty happy for the most part with average class sizes across the district, things like that. Kindergarten still has, I wish it was just maybe a whisker smaller than it currently is, there's a lot of blue on the page that's in front of you. And, obviously I'm still holding my breath on Clay, Altoona, and Runnels. I keep telling myself, we just get through one more day and we keep being creative, saying, hey, what do you know about what do you know about going to Willowbrook? Would you like to do that? So that's really been kind of the conversation, and I really cannot thank the ladies up front enough for all the work they've done and all the people who've come through the door, in particular in the last 3 days. It's remarkable how many people go, oh, that's right, school's gonna start. And they've just been wonderful with those folks. So I guess without gumming it up anymore, if you have questions, I'll certainly answer them.
So not for this year necessarily, but I'm staring at our high school number and I know 2,400 is the presumed cap for that school. Flexible, but presumed. With that 8th grade class coming in next year, we breached that, and that's without any growth. Is there any thought process that we're working on already? I know we've got a plan 2-3 years from now when we get that 6th, 7th grade center on, but it looks like we're gonna have a year where we're bursting. Any thoughts have been given to that about ways to alleviate that?
6-7 building.
Well, that's great for a year from then,
Right.
but
Hey, with the supply chain thing, we can push it back up again.
Maybe we're good. Maybe.
You know, in a word, no. I guess I'm just trying to get to Monday, to be really honest with you. But a year
That's
from
fair.
Monday,
That
we
is
will
fair.
be having this conversation, no doubt. And I think a lot will be incumbent upon Mr. Pettit and his group about, okay, how do we do this? You know, I guess I was assistant principal at the high school and we had portable classrooms and
Yeah.
it was wall to wall crazy. And if I could go back and do it over again, I'd do it again. You know,
That
I
sounds
think
like an
we'll start to
offer,
get some of those old feelings again, you know, that, hey, I remember this being packed like this. But I think the best place to start is with the
Right.
building. You know, what spaces are available, if any, and how creative can we get?
well, I know.
That is something I know Steve has been looking ahead at a little bit. I don't see us doing portable classrooms, so don't run away with that one. I'll say that.
No, but we've done them.
Yeah, we have.
And they're
Just
done
10
it.
years ago, we had them all the way.
Yeah, I was there for that.
We've got a
Maybe
couple.
little uncomfortable. Some of there's some nuance there too with the high school and with the number of kids that we have taking DMAC classes.
Right.
And that those kids aren't all there at the same time all day long, but there are pinch points where they are there.
But
And things like the cafeteria at lunch are the cafeteria at lunch, you know, and those passing times are passing times. So there are some real specific things that they're going to need to kind of put their head around a little bit. And I think the block schedule is going to help a little bit by eliminating some of that, or at least reducing the amount of times. But yeah, it's a concern, but we've known it. Obviously, that's why the plans are in place that are in place. Wish we could do that.
oh yeah, well, you know, we've got some great carpentry students. Just rip out those lockers and there you go.
Yeah.
8 more classrooms. But I know, you know, we hear it every year for the 4 years I've been here. I'm sure you guys hear it before how
Oh, yeah.
overcrowded the high school is. I went to Lincoln. It's not crowded. That's a whole different world. Yeah. So I mean,
If I could add on to
Yeah.
that too, along with what Dr. Ludwig said, you know, we were intending to apply to be an online provider before COVID hit. We got delayed on that a little bit. We reconvened the online leadership team and our goal is to apply before December of this year. So again, if we're approved as an online provider, we're not hoping to provide the whole school experience, but some classes we may be able to provide in an online format, particularly for 11th and 12th graders. And again, that's not going to solve the problems when they're all there, but just some little things putting in place that could.
You know, there is, I know it's only 40 some students, but if we could find a new location for the harbor, that frees up a whole hallway. You all know that. but,
I was never a fan of it in the building, but
Yeah.
I was happy with them where they were.
I think, don't you have plans if
I mean, they take up. the whole
everything
hallway.
goes, maybe they will be relocated?
Yeah.
Spring
that's
Creek's
kind of-
gonna be wide open.
So it'd be like, again, I'll say it's just a year. I mean, I get it. It's cramped, but yeah, Joe's already made a good point that if you have to make some small adjustments for a year, I mean, it's well worth it. And instead of uprooting them now to uproot them again to find a new location. It's kind of,
Right.
it's not fair to them.
Yeah, you
And I'm
don't,
with
you
Lori.
don't
I
want to
didn't-
uproot them twice.
I didn't like it going back in there, but it's there. It's a home for them.
They have their,
I wouldn't want
Space.
to be, I wouldn't want them to feel like, well, we're just expendable to
Right.
kind of.
Moving them around.
Yeah, but the point well taken. I mean, we got to do something.
so are you thinking of running?
For what?
Because you're worried about the high school too.
I have a 10th grader this year.
Yeah.
I have a student that's in the
You're
largest.
worried because of your kid.
Well, no, because he likes to fade into the background anyways, but that's him. No, I'm just worried because, I mean, we're talking about 140 students that aren't in that building right now magically being in that building, and that's a huge influx.
Joe, are these numbers with the open enrolled out numbers that we just got today?
No,
Okay,
No,
so it's
they're
not
apart.
updated either, but not that there was a bunch of high school kids, but there were some.
No, the high school's got.
yeah, who would not at some point add to that number? They're not anywhere in these
Right.
numbers currently.
Right.
Is this something we may have to talk about, like open enrollment ending for the high school maybe next year? I mean, because we're like right now, like minus 140 from next year, and
Yep.
we're already closing down classes. We're already going plus 30s, right? And then we have 270 some kids in like study halls. I mean, so it's kind of like already we're starting to, overburden.
So you're like.
And so you dump 140 kids in there and it's like, what are we
cap
gonna
it for
do?
the- Cap it for the time being, you're saying?
Well, because I mean, if we're closing down classes though already, and this is before we have another 140 kids in there. I mean, it's got me nervous for next year too, because this year is already proven to be,
Just,
I mean, a bear as
I
far as
think-
you talk to our counselors.
just to
it's-
clarify, closing down classes because there's too many kids that
Yes.
want that class.
Yeah.
That's,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then they can take it the following semester or the following year or whatever, maybe.
Maybe, right?
At least the possibilities out there for them to
But that's
not have to do without.
How many do we get that open enroll new ones that aren't existing? I know we get that list.
Yeah, we
But
won't
it's-
really
but
have that until October.
So it's.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're
kinda-
gonna have problems regardless, even without any coming in. You're talking 140 kids and we're already,
The
You know
the
what I
good
mean?
news is we have that possibility because the board policy on class size exists, so we can say no to open enrollments. You don't even have to have a special policy or whatever to say no more seniors or no more whatever. Because that exists in our policy right now.
yeah, it's just
And
even,
that
even
may
in
be
light of that.
something we have to evaluate.
No worries.
Yeah. 'Cause even in light of that, yeah, it makes me nervous for the next couple of years because get really creative or just, do we have room to house more teachers? You know what I mean? Opening that stuff back up, it's gonna be a bear.
The nice part of this conversation is we're an attractive place to other people who want
Yes.
to come here.
Yeah.
And having too many kids
It beats the
is a
alternative.
great problem to have.
Yes, yes. It's a
Much rather have-
positive, it's not a negative.
Right.
Much rather have this
It's
conversation.
it's both.
And even if you did it for a year, I mean, it's not.
Mhm.
That may be the better option. They'll tell us, I guess, when they got a good plan.
We have a good leadership team that'll figure it out and offer our students the best of the best. And more opportunities with the more students that we get.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? Interesting numbers this time around. It's nice to be able to talk about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In particular, face to
Except
face
you're gonna
instead of
keep
on. a
saying, wait
computer.
till October, wait till October.
Right.
At least some of the blues gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has been. We've been, it's been an interesting run. And it's gonna be, I know there's only one more day left before school starts, but tomorrow's gonna be an interesting day. I guarantee
Always
you.
was.
Because the last
Sounded
three.
like
have-
today was an interesting day.
Pardon?
I said it sounded like today was an interesting day.
Yes.
I was
Sucks,
getting phone
doesn't it?
calls.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Sometime we'll sit down on,
Yeah,
I can tell you some stories from today, but it's all good.
yeah, yeah.
Every day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, 3E, ESER 3 discussion and input.
You guys, without boring everyone to tears, you know how we operate in acronyms in education.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just go through a couple of them so you understand what we're talking about. The American Rescue Plan or ARP of 2021 authorized a third round of emergency coronavirus funds for states. And then the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, or ESSER 3, was directly for schools. So ARP ESSER 3 is the third round of COVID funding for schools in Iowa.
Thank
So when we're
goodness.
talking about ESSER 3, that's what we're talking about, federal
Okay.
money, COVID relief. For us, that is equal to just under $4 million. That's our ESSER 3. That was given out to the states. The states then determined how they allocated that. Iowa did it based on their Title I formula. So we're kind of on the low end for our size for allocations. But I mean, we can
4
whine,
million.
but then
It's 4 million.
P&A can look at us and say, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
We got more than we did. And you're smaller than we are. So yeah, right. $4 million give to horse mouth. We're not going to do it. So this time around, ESSER 3 has a few more requirements than before. Probably the biggest one is that there needs to be a minimum reservation of 20%, so about $800,000 of that roughly 4 million to address learning loss, and that's the government's term. So ensuring that we have interventions that respond to students' social, emotional, and academic needs, and then also address the disproportionate impact on underrepresented subgroups. So there's that roughly $800,000 that must be towards that. Will end up being much more than that. That's pretty obvious, but I think that's a low bar to get over. And then the other 80% is a little bit more allowable. I won't say it's wide open, but for federal money, it's more than normal. So what we do then now, and Joellen kind of walked through this with the summer learning program, is put together a plan, look at where we are, identify strengths and needs, create a plan, implement the plan, then assess, did it work? What worked, what didn't, and move on from there. And that's the process that we're in right now. One of the problems is several of those data points that we need to assess where we are haven't been released by the state yet. They will be over the next month. And so we'll be able to do a little bit more. So this conversation is just to show you a little bit. The attachment there has several of the things that we're kind of doing, things that we have done, things that we can do that could be funded with ESSER 3 money. And I wanted to be able to have a chance for you to take a look at that, maybe add things if there are specific things that the board has ideas on. We can talk a little bit about any of these in more detail. My plan was not to go through bullet by bullet and keep you here for 3 hours. But
Darn it.
these are things that we're looking at. Joellen kind of went through that summer school and that kind of lumps into additional learning opportunities. Summer school was pretty much focused on the elementary level, but clearly this affected secondary kids as well. So we need to have some things for secondary students. And then mental health has been another thing that we've talked quite a bit about around here. Next month, Joe and some principals will be coming to talk about a new program in our social and emotional learning kind of toolbox that we're going to be adding at K through 6. I'll say that, called Leader in Me, that I think you're going to be wowed by. It's going to be a really good addition to our PBIS and OBS, already a very strong program. We've talked at length about technology, and I don't want Jason to get big ideas like he's getting.
His eyes are getting
Back
big.
down.
We've done some things with our HVAC systems. We've done some things with our custodial practices that have been out of the norm, and those fall in that 80% side of things. We'll also talk about some additions to our layers of safety within the district, the Raptor program. If you haven't heard of that before, Joe, it's your night, I guess, for things to come. I'm setting you up.
I promise.
This is
What is it, Raptor?
it's a system where when you come to our double entries, you'll present some ID and it runs a very quick background check on anybody that comes in. So
It did sound kind of like something like that, and it sure enough is.
So curriculum, last year was a tough year on our curriculum department in several ways, but one of them in just our resources, because some of the stuff that went home didn't come back. And so there's some of that has to be replaced, renewed and so on. So anyway, that's just kind of a taste of the things that we're looking at. As we get some of the more data that helps us specifically zero in on what are our greatest areas of need and what are the best things out there that have research behind them that to kind of answer some of the questions you're asking about summer school ahead of time. What has worked? What has evidence behind it that this is the kind of thing that will help our kids move forward? We'll bring that more beefed up and a meatier plan back to the board to take a look at as we go from there. I anticipate that being over the next month or so. Like I said, we need to get some of these. We don't have any subgroup data from our testing from last year. There's some things that we need to be able to answer some of these, the federally required parts of these questions.
I have two questions, or one's a suggestion, one's a question. One, how did those 11 subs that we filled in, did that work out for us better once we added those extra full-time subs? So they covered where people dropped out, in, out. Did that help us get through?
Very much so.
Or did we
In fact,
need
the
more?
Principals are bothering me about communicating.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a conversation we're currently having. And, you know, obviously, it'd be ideal if we could somehow sort of, in a really healthy way, get to midterm, when we get new college graduates who graduate in the middle of the year, and we can roll 11 of those maybe, or some combination of current subs and new graduates, whatever. We could fill in those 11 slots if we're, you know, looking, you know, if Amy's like crazy busy with COVID-19, probably the rest of that same day.
Okay. And then I have one other, this is a suggestion, and it's not that I know you guys can't find a way to spend $4 million. I get that. But looking at it from the top down, can I suggest, again, an entire staff survey where you ask every single person that had a different perspective? Not that you need to know all those ideas, but I think there's some hidden gems in there if you just ask the right person. And it's something that you don't even think about because we're up here and then they're in the middle of it all. And I would just like it. I mean, the custodians, the cooks, everybody interjected if they had an idea of something that they noticed we were missing the boat on, that we could have done better during this whole last year and a half.
But it doesn't have to be about COVID though, right? I mean, you're talking
No,
just
we're-
everything in general.
How, yeah.
Are you
that
talking
fits-
ESSER money?
That fits
general?
with
Okay.
what we can do.
I visited with the representative from CETA today, and he's been collecting those ideas from teachers.
Okay.
You know, what you're saying is to expand that. And I did share with him that we were kicking this off tonight with the board. And so he's got a lot of those suggestions compiled. So we
Yeah.
will have a data set to consider as we look for it.
Yeah, and
But that's just union teachers though, right?
I would, no, well, everyone's part of it or represented, but I would
Represented.
like you to ask all staff, if you could, just a one-time question survey of where they think we could have done better. But I'm glad they have that list, but I think there's people out there that could generate some more suggestions that no one even thought about, but that would maybe fit. And like I said, I know you have plenty of places you already, but there could be something we're missing that we need to hit on. So that's my only other comment.
I had just some questions. I want to make sure I'm tracking this. So we received COVID money. This is money for next year, this ESSER
It's
3.
actually the next 2.5 years.
Okay.
It might actually be stretched out a little farther. They're still kind of bargaining that. Not, it won't be more money, but
Right.
more time to be
Okay.
able to
So there's,
spend it.
but we did receive some money
Right.
already for, like, I know masks and
Yep, there
Chemicals.
will-
lotion. Yeah.
Yes,
Chemicals.
there's been 3 rounds. This is round 3.
Okay.
This is by far the
The
largest.
biggest
Yeah,
pot.
I think our total, Kevin could tell in a heartbeat, I think he once said like 5.5.
Look at
Okay.
he's on there now.
Correct. That's correct, Dr. Lopnik.
Look at him smile.
He knows those numbers.
Yeah.
He looks rather pale though.
Thank you, Mrs. Slings.
I heard that. That's why I
It's a
said it.
substantial sum of money. I'll be curious to see, what kinds of things we do. I love the idea of summer school, but I guess we've got to see if it worked, I guess is kind of the idea. I've always thought, yeah, we need summer school, and I'm glad we did it. And hopefully our data will show, yeah, that was great. Let's do more of that, then figure out a way how to pay for it after we're
Sure.
through whatever share of the money this would
Right.
get out of it.
Yeah, if this extension happens, we could theoretically milk 4 more years out of this with.
With
these
this,
funds, which would
okay.
be awesome.
I'd like to add, Mrs. Slings, thank you for the comments. From our standpoint, we certainly will account for these things, but I will tell you that the spending of this money is going to be very, very under the microscope as we continue to hear things from the Department of Education and things from people like the State Auditor's Office. So anything that is associated with the pandemic, COVID, we will certainly push those costs to here, but they've got to be associated with those costs. So as we talk about a survey, things of that nature, it's good to hear about things, but also just make sure they're relational to this particular pandemic.
Well,
Correct.
and when-
I'm not suggesting anything outside of, but anything correlated that people notice that you could attribute to the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure like most things, it's federal money, so they've got long tentacles that come with that. And they probably, when you say Department of Education,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's the federal Department of Education.
Yeah, both federal and state. Yeah, we just
Okay.
got some verbiage on some accountability of time things we have to do and now in compliance going backwards, retrospective, because we have spent some of this money already. So these are continuing developments within guidance of these particular funds.
I expect it to be difficult to spend with the rules.
Probably.
We should do it quickly then.
Yeah, I was at the fiscal management conferences maybe a month or so ago. And the State Department of Education was talking about these funds. And at that time, the recommendation was make sure you have a backup source to pay for these things because the
Don't spend
guidance
it.
was slow and it wasn't clear. And they were kind of making up their own guidance, what they thought was going to be acceptable. So I don't know if that's cleared up at all since then.
I couldn't agree more. Our CFOs, SPOs across the state of Iowa continue to have these discussions, waiting for guidance from our state departments. So things continue to evolve. But as far as what we do here, yes, close discussions with Dr. Lupnick and the rest of the leadership team regards to how we spend these particular funds.
This is the first time it's ever been difficult to spend money, though. Just so you know.
Yeah,
I mean, sarcastic.
I'm sure.
All right.
Anything else? Any questions?
For sneeze.
Motion.
All right,
to-
anything else for the good of the cause before we adjourn?
Like a gold night is tonight till 7. You got 30 minutes. Palooza's the 28th. They still need volunteers. That's all I can think of right now. And have a great first day of school.
And again,
Thank you for
kudos
all you
to-
do.
yeah, Kudos again for Tuesday morning. You guys did a fabulous job. I think the energy was I've never seen.
Yeah, it was
that-
amazing.
People excited to actually be there. Most time they're like, hey, we got stuff to do in our classrooms. Let's get out of here.
I
So-
can't wait for something to happen so I can go. #1 Southeast Polk.
You remember.
All right, can we get a motion?
Move to adjourn.